Hello and welcome to the IAG presentation inside Effective Business Requirements Definition. My name is Rob Stewart and I'm the Managing Consultant here at IAG Consulting. We're really going to get into the discussion about what are business requirements all about, what does the documentation look like, what needs to be documented, what doesn't need to be documented. You know, there's lots to cover here. First of all, let me set the scenario here. Here's a great example of real business requirements document was sent to the IT project management office, produced after weeks of effort. The expectation was for the project management office to find and deliver a solution. I can tell you this is a Fortune 500 class company, multi-divisional, multi-million-dollar project, and here's kind of a summary of what they had. What I just showed you there, that's the requirements. Don't wait for a second page. The interesting part here is it's a little ironic that this was a quality information system that they were trying to do the requirements for. So if you see this happening at your organization or other organizations, and I really hope it's not happening where you work, but it does say something about the great variability of what people and different organizations think great requirements are and what's needed and what has to happen and the depth that you have to go to define the basic needs of the business for some solution development, especially for something that's larger, more strategic than your run-of-the-mill project. This is not a little $10,000 project. We're talking about multi-million-dollar spends by organization that are expected to produce tangible results on budget and on time to operationalize strategic business visions. And this is what a Fortune 500 class company got by way of requirements. We call this inside effective business requirements documentation, so we have to ask, what does effective mean? And what I mean here is basically three things. And the first thing is, if you're going to produce good business requirements documentation, it has to have quality. If the requirements document are not clear, or they're not accurate, or they're not complete, then you really have nothing. Actually, it may be worse than nothing. It might be misleading, ambiguous, etc. And it may lead to decisions being made about architecture and functionality that turned out to be way off base and result in major scrapping of work and huge amounts of rework. So not only do they need to be clear, but if they're not, you've got a really huge potential problem. Secondly, we say that the documentation has to be useful, so it has to serve the intended purpose and needs of the intended audience. One of the tricks about a really effective business requirements documentation is recognizing the different audiences and ensuring that you meet their needs. Somebody has to want to use it, and it needs to serve their needs well. So why would you produce a business requirements document? Well, because your design or development team has to figure out how to come up with a solution. And lastly, it has to be efficient. That is, it includes everything needed and nothing that's not needed at this point in time. You don't go packing a lot of design details into a business requirements document. That's left for the next elaboration of the requirements, whatever that may be, a package purchase and configuration, a design for build, etc. So let's talk about the details of IAG's requirements documentation. And by the way, you can go to our website at iag.biz and download a copy of this for free. It's a Word document with some visual diagrams embedded in it. Let's walk through these sections quickly and discuss why they're in the template and what they hold. The introduction section contains a lot of information that you may find in a charter type document in your organization. The reason it's included in our BRD template is that a lot of times we find that our clients may not have considered all of these aspects, and they're important elements that need to be understood. So this section contains information that applies to the project as a whole, not specific to a part of the process to be described or to the data that is required to support the process. Objectives include business and project objectives. Summary of scope is the list of in-scope business activities to be examined and a list of out-of-scope business activities. Scenarios can be in and out of scope as well, entities in and out of scope. CARD, constraints, assumptions, risk dependencies, is a list, really 4 lists that are populated as they're discovered. Some before the BRD was started, some discovered during elicitation, etc. The context diagram is a high-level view of the sources of inputs to the process and the customers of the outputs of this process. It's a conceptual view of the position of the process in relation to the outside world. that is outside of the process, not just outside of the organization. Then we have a requirements section that's a series of tables that list the individual requirements, functional business requirements, business rules, non-functional requirements, information requirements. The lists, except for the non-functional requirements, are cross-referenced to the process definition and the data definition sections of the BRD, as that's where the requirements came from. The list of requirements are really what the business is going to sign off on, and the definitions that follow really just give us the business context for the requirements and prove that we got complete and accurate requirements. So the process definition section is a series of business activity descriptions organized in a business use case format for ease of understanding. These process definitions are the heart of the elicitation and analysis effort. This is where the requirements come from. These descriptions are how one knows that the analysis is complete and that the requirements listed are correct, and from where the requirements traceability really starts. The data definition section is a series of tables that describes each entity that's necessary to support the process defined in the previous section. It may also include an entity, or in most cases will include an entity relationship diagram to describe the relationships between the entities. And finally, of course, we have appendices. One is a glossary. One is a list of supporting documents. One is a place where you can put more detailed notes that arise during the description of the processes. And of course, you can always add to an appendix. Simplify, simplify, simplify. If you look at our BRD template compared to the one we started with, it has half the number of categories. It contains everything needed, nothing not needed, and it's structured in a way that makes it easy to find what you need. Finally, you need to execute with situational awareness. The template itself does not create quality. How to tune what the analyst is doing based on the specific needs of the project they are working on. One size does not fit all. So thank you for putting up with me. I trust you got tons of good information, and look forward to working with you in the future.